folks, here we go. Race ready to begin. In the start is Avery Keller from Newburyport. Avery Keller now on course up top. In the start is Emma Wanson from Manchester, Essex. Time for Avery Keller, 34.24. Emily Miller now in the start from Haverhill. Emily Miller on course up top. Nina Muse in the start for North Andover. Time for Emma Wanson, 31.24. In the start for Austin Prep is Allie Peralt. Time for Emily Miller, 27.81. Now in the start is Bori Kim from Andover. Time for Nina Muse, 26.57. Ava Pelletier now in the start from Masconomet. Time for Allie, 34.02. In the start is Lily Sherbanian from Newburyport. Time for Bori Kim, 27.99. In the start is Gracie Sesko from Manchester, Essex. Time for Ava Pelletier, 25.60. Ashley Gagnon now in the start for Haverhill. Time for Lily, 28.00. Liat Moritz now in the start for North Andover. Time for Gracie Sisko, 33.66. Sydney Pillar now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Ashley Gagnon, 28.83. Brooke Downey now in the start for Andover. Time for Liat, 28.03. Charlotte Hill now in the start for Masconomet. Time for Sydney Pillar, 26.15. In the start is Grace Chandler from Newburyport. Time for Brooke Downey, 28.16. Time for Charlotte Hill, 25.09. Nora Hess from Havel in the start. Time for Grace Chandler, 25.92. Sam Melville from North Andover in the start. Time for Nora Hess, 33.56. Vera Mascarelli in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Sam Melville, 27.71. Megan Ong from Andover in the start. Time for Vera Mascarelli, 26.77. Megan Riley in the start for Masconomet. Time for Megan Ong, 28.98. Time for Megan Riley, 25.77. Alex Sullivan on course from Newburyport. Anya Bixby from Manchester Essex is in the start. Anya Bixby now up top on the course from Manchester Essex. Marissa Dewey from Havel is in the start. Marissa Dewey on course up top, and Vanessa Mabley from North Andover is in the start. Time for Anya Bixby, 31.93. Jillian Whitney now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Marissa, 34.46. Elise Porter from Andover is in the start. Time for Vanessa Mabley, 30.72. In the start is Amanda Schneider from Masconomet. Time for Jillian Whitney, 27.09. Shay Trail from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Elise Porter, 30.39. Rose Warner from Manchester is in the start. Time for Amanda Schneider, 25.66. Jocelyn Travis now in the start for Havel. Time for Shea Trail, 39.66. Liv Downer from North Andover, now in the start. Time for Rose Warner, 27.00. Allie Jenks from Austin Prep, now in the start. Time for Jocelyn Travis, 36.64. Amanda Lichtenberg from Andover is now in the start. Time for Liv Downer, 32.27. Nicole Schneider from Asconomet is now in the start. Time for Allie Jenks, 29.56. Lily Westerman from Newburyport now in the start. Kieran Day from Manchester now on the start. Time for Nicole Schneider, 26.23. Now in the start for Haverhill is Sydney Bichette. Time for Lily Westerman, 41.73. In the start is Ava Barbado from North Andover. Time for Kieran Day, 30.60. In the start is Maggie Gold from Austin Prep. Time for Sydney, 38.60. Samantha Daly now in the start for Andover. Time for Ava, 33.07. In the start is Lauren Downs from Asconomet. Time for Maggie Gove, 29.79. Now in the start is Molly Smith for Newburyport. Time for Samantha Daly, 31.75. In the start is Casey Twombly from Manchester, Essex. Time for Lauren Downs, 28.27. In the start is Kate Garish from Haverhill. Casey Twombly now on course up top. Kate Garish is in the start. Time for Molly Smith, 48.92. In the start is Maddie Segru for North Andover.
Let's go, Casey! Woo! Yeah, Casey! Woo! Yeah! Push! You got it!
Time for Casey Twombly, 36.18. In the start is Lizzie Hart from Austin Prep.
And all those signed up for 4 o'clock. Ski and snowboard lessons. Those lessons starting right now in one of the many areas. That's all those signed up for 4 o'clock. Ski and snowboard lessons.
Yes, Jiggy! Up there! Yes, Jiggy!
Time for Kate Garish, 40.19.
Yeah, Maddie!
In the start is Dimitri Hatzigiannis for
Go,
Andover.
Shiggy! Go, Shiggy!
Time for Maddie Segru, 35.04. In the start now is Alex Hill from Masconomet. Time for Lizzie Hart, 34.59. Sienna Crocker from Manchester is in the start. Time for Dimitra, 29.84. In the start now is Hannah Minnis from Haverhill. Time for Alex Hill, 28.47. Now in the start is Jen Bartlett from North Andover. Time for Sienna, 36.08. In the start now from Austin Prep is Allie Burns. Time for Hannah Minnis, 41.12. Time for Jen Bartlett, 34.96. Allie Burns is on course. Grace Welsh from Andover is in the start. Time for Allie Burns, 31.41. Nora Duval from Masconomet is in the start. Time for Grace Welsh, 35.22, and time for Nora Duval, 28.40. That concludes the girls' slalom. The boys' slalom will start in approximately 2 to 3 minutes as soon as we have a little course maintenance.
7. Oh, okay. And that's what I had. But I thought I saw a diesel. Okay. I'll ask the other coaches, but I'll find out before we're done. Story for next year in Dryland.
All right, boys slalom race is ready to begin. In the start is Cameron Light from Manchester. Cameron Light now on course up top, and Tommy Lynch from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Cameron Light, 35.09. Aiden Wise now on the start for Haverhill. Aiden Wise on top, Dario Filodoro in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Tommy Lynch, 30.85. Time for Aiden Wise, 34.88. Dario Filadoro on course up top. Wills the Magni from Masconometers in the start. Time for Dario, 27.94. Sanjay Kim on course. Ollie Litzler from North Andover is in the start. Time for Wills and Magni, 27.41. Tim Harmon now in the start for St. John's Prep. Time for Sanjay Kim, 27.59. In the start is Owen Bappy from Manchester. Stop the time, North Andover DNF. Time for Tim Harmon. 22.66. Tyler Shabanian from Newburyport is in the start. Tyler now on course. Paul Parachojak from Havel is in the start. Time for Owen, 35.51. Luke Bartley from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Tyler, 31.33. Owen Palmer from Masco is in the start. Time for Paul Parachojak, 27.26. Theodore Hutchins is now in the start for Andover. Time for Luke Bartley, 30.91. Derek Monahan from North Andover is now in the start. Time for Owen Palmer, 25.95. Josh Harmon from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Theodore Hutchins, 28.28. Tristan Rogers from Manchester is now in the start. Time for Josh Harmon, 23.64. Graham Smith from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Tristan Rogers, 39.76. Henry Hartford from Haverhill is in the start. Henry now on course. Dante Philodoro from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Graham Smith, 32.08. Will Caron from Masconomet is in the start. Time for Henry Hartford, 24.39. Time for Dante, 30.28. Ryan Swenson from Andover is in the start. Ryan's on course up top. Luke Ramos from North Andover is in the start. Time for Will Caron, 26.75. Owen Gant from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Ryan, 29.95. Peter Shaw from Manchester is now in the start. Time for Luke Ramos, 27.21. Nolan Smith from Newburyport now in the start. Time for Owen Gant, 25.30. Adam Payne from Haverhill is in the start. Nolan Smith from Newburyport on course up top. Time for Peter Shaw, 42.81. David Morrow from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Nolan Smith, 33.96. Andrew Mitchell now in the start for Masconomet. Time for Adam Payne, 23.30. In the start is Quentin Cario from Andover. for David Morrow, 33.66. Ryan Radowski now on the start for North Andover. Time for Andrew Mitchell, 26.93. Rocco Mascarelli from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Quinton, 33.31. Owen McLean from Manchester now on the start. Time for Ryan Radowski, 27.99. Andrew Long from Newburyport now on the start. Time for Rocco, 26.55. Time for Owen McLean, 34.75. Ryan Began on course up top, and Drew Nadrosic from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Andrew Long, 31.81. From Masconomet, Bodie DeVellion is now on the start. Time for Ryan, 36.47. From Andover, Gardner Porter is in the start. Time for Drew Nadrosic, 39.44. Will Hennessy from North Andover is in the start. Time for Bodie, 30.15. Henry Coote from St. John's Prep now on the start. Time for Gardner, 29.83. Gray West from Manchester is now in the start. Time for Will, 28.14. Caleb Bradshaw from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Henry Coote, 24.95. In the start is Sam White from Havel. Time for Gray West, 35.71. In the start is Narek Manassian from Austin Prep. Time for Caleb, 34.79. In the start is Lars Kovamis from Masconomet. Time for Sam White, 40.64. In the start is Max Reams from Andover. Time for Narek Manassian, 36.69. Max Reams now on course up top, and Zach Golden from North Andover is in the start. Zach Goldman on course up top, and Peyton McKee from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Max, 27.65. In the start is Sawyer Sperry from Newburyport. Time for Zach Goldman, 29.96. In the start is David Yang from Haverhill. Time for Peyton McKee, 26.19. Ryan Reck from Austin Prep is now in the start. David Yang just started on top. Time for Sawyer Sperry, 37.24. In the start is Anthony Stevens from Masconomet. Time for David Yang, 37.69. In the start is Ian Cox from Andover. Time for Ryan Reck, 40.99. Time for Anthony Stevens, 29.33. Colby Muse from North Andover now on course up top, and Evan Fisicelli from St. John's is in the start. Time for Ian, 33.02. Tucker Nichols from Manchester is now in the start. Time for Colby, 29.19. Beckett Sava from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Evan, 27.64. Jacob Coons from Austin Prep is now in the start. Time for Tucker, 39.87. Jacob Coons on course up top, and Ethan Daly from Masconomet is in the start. Time for Beckett, 39.27. Kyron Marr now in the start for Andover. Time for Jacob, 40.69. Ibrahim Haroon from North Andover is in the start. Time for Ethan Daly, 29.48. Abraham Haroon on course up top. Sam Charette from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Kyron, 37.28. Time for Ibrahim, 29.11. Sam Charette now on course up top. Time for Sam Charette, 24.07. That concludes today's slalom races. The GS race will start as soon as the course is reset. Enjoy your snacks.
Going up so you can inspect. What? Yeah, right? That's what we should. I told them that. I get clean up there.
Yes, sir. back there, you're like, when someone comes back, you get up, like,
No, I'm covering the
how long do you guys get up to snow?
no. It's all the towns. I'm covering and I got a break between races.
But I had like
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hit this the last? Say it again? Oh.
So when you get
That's right.
I'm not going to give you the game plan. To the point where
I think that's, but I think that's it. I think that's the real depth.
you should get it, but she has, I've had it in the car at the place.
Good. How you doing? You got the big calzone? Yeah, I had a buffalo. Good. Oh, yeah. Watch the video. If you search the video, it'll show you how it's nasty. I thought I had it. I don't think I ever did when I saw that video.
It's kind of like, this is an easy ride. You get it.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do those my whole engine's apart right now. I gotta send you pictures. I'm replacing my intake manifold. Gas. The whole middle section of the engine is lying over. Scary. Simple so far, but it's still scary to see it all out of the dust. So what are you planning? What do you think?
I just don't think. Yeah. So I learned that
Right. depends. You know, same thing, just weather dependent.
lined up for 5 o'clock. Ian Snowboard lesson. So, we'll be starting in 5 minutes. That's all in the area.
Okay, good job.
watch out, old boy. I just try not to. No, I just don't want to.
Okay, folks, we're about ready to begin. Girls Giant Slalom. In the start is Avery Keller from Newburyport.
Hey, Jerry or Todd, will one of you walk through when we signal?
Wait. Avery Keller from Newburyport, now on course up top. Emma Watson from Manchester is in the start. In the start is Emily Miller from Haverhill. Time for Avery, 25.93. In the start is Nina Muse from North Andover. Time for Emma Watson, 23.69. Ellie Peralt from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Emily, 22.66. Lori Kim from Andover is in the start.
She's got her priorities. Temperature's definitely dropping.
Fast. And the sun's going down.
Okay, time for Emily Miller was 22.66. Time for Nina Muse from North Andover, 22.60. Allie Peralta from Austin Prep, 23.64. Lori Kim from Andover is in the start. Lori Kim now on course, and Ava Pelletier is in the start for Masco. Ava Pelletier is on course up top, and Lily Chebanian from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Lori Kim, 23.21. Gracie Susko from Manchester is in the start. Time for Ava, 22.03. Ashley Gagnon from Haverhill is now in the start. Time for Lily, 22.54. Liat Moritz is now in the start for North Andover. Time for Gracie, 26.36. Sydney Pillar from Austin Prep is now in the start. Time for Ashley Gagnon, 22.54. Time for Liat Moritz, 22.78. Time for Sydney Pillar, 21.32. Brooke Downey from Andover is on course, and Charlotte Hill from Masconomet is in the start. Time for Brooke Downey, 22.86. Grace Chandler from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Charlotte Hill, 20.78. Nora Hess from Haverhill is in the start. Time for Grace Chandler, 21.28. Nora Hess on course, and Sam Melville from North Andover is in the start. Sam now on course up top. Vera Mascarelli from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Nora Hess, 24.02. Time for Sam Melville, 22.88. Megan Ong from Andover is in the start. Megan's now on course, and Megan Riley from Asconomet is in the start. Time for Vera, 22.83. Alex Sullivan from Newburyport is now in the start. Time for Megan, 22.30. Anya Bixby from Manchester is in the start. Time for Megan Riley, 21.18. Marissa Dewey from Haverhill is in the start. Time for Alex, 26.97. Vanessa Mabley from North Andover is in the start. Time for Anya Bixby, 24.26. Jillian Whitney now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Marissa, 24.46. Elise Porter from Andover is now in the start. Time for Vanessa Mabley, 23.11. Amanda Schneider now in the start from Asconomet. Time for Jillian Whitney, 22.49. Shay Trail from Newburyport now in the start. Time for Elise, 23.06. Rose Warner from Manchester now in the start. Shay Trail on course up top. Time for Amanda Schneider, 21.64. Time for Shay Trail, 28.19. Rose Warner on course up top, and Jocelyn Travis from Haverhill is in the start. Jocelyn now on course up top, and Liv Downer is in the start from North Andover. Time for Rose Warner, 22.11. Allie Jenks now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Jocelyn, 27.67. Amanda Lichtenberg from Andover is now in the start. Time for Liv Downer, 23.65. Nicole Schneider now in the start from Asconomet. Time for Allie Jenks, 23.58. Lily Westerman from Newburyport now in the start. Time for Amanda, 22.84. Kiernan Day now in the start for Manchester. Time for Nicole Schneider, 22.26. Sydney Pichette now on the start for Haverhill. Time for Lily, 29.26. Sydney's now on course from Haverhill, and Ava Barbato from North Andover is in the start. Time for Kiernan Day, 24.45. Maggie Gove now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Sydney, 28.09. Maggie Gove now on course up top. Samantha Daly from Andover is in the start. Time for Ava, 24.23. Lauren Downs now at the start. Time for Maggie Gove, 23.93. Lauren Downs now on course up top. Molly Smith from Newport is in the start. Time for Samantha Daly, 23.00. Time for Lauren Downs, 22.18. Molly Smith on course, and Casey Twombly from Manchester is in the start. Casey on course up top, and Kate Garish from Haverhill is in the start. Time for Molly, 28.69. Maddie Tegru, now in the start. On course is Kate Garish from Haverhill. Maddie Tegru is in the start for North Andover. Time for Kate Garish, 29.64. Lizzie Hart from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Maddie, 24.59. Dimitri Hatzigiannis from Andover is in the start. Time for Lizzie, 24.83. Alex Hill is in the start. Alex now on course up top. Sienna Crocker from Manchester is in the start. Time for Demetra, 24.04. Time for Alex Hill, 21.85. Sienna Crocker on course, and Hannah Minnis from Haverhill is in the start. Hannah now on course up top. Jen Bartlett from North Andover is in the start. Time for Sienna, 26.80.
Yes, Sienna!
Bartlett now on course up top, and Allie Burns from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Hannah Minnis, 30.23. Allie Burns on course up top, and Grace Welsh now on the start for Andover. Time for Jen Bartlett, 28.25. Grace Welsh now on course up top, and Nora Duval from Masconomet is in the start. Time for Allie Burns, 25.09. Nora Duval now on course up top. Time for Grace Welsh, 23.92. Time for Nora, 22.53. That concludes the girls' giant slalom. The boys will start in a few minutes. Coach Marcagiani, do you have any?
Should be up top.
boys' race is about to begin. Owen McLean from Manchester, Essex is in the start. Cameron Light from Manchester, Essex is in the start. Cameron's on course. Tommy Lynch from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Cameron Light, 24.50. Aiden Wise from Haverhill's in the start. Time for Tommy Lynch, 23.04. Dario Filodoro from Austin Prep is in the start. Time for Aiden, 24.71. Wills Magny from Masco is in the start. Time for Dario, 21.72. Sanjay Kim from Andover in the start. Time for Wills Magny, 22.06. Ollie Litster in the start for North Andover. Time for Sanjay Kim, 21.54. Tim Harmon in the start for St. John's. Time for Ollie, 22.38. Owen Bappy from Manchester in the start. Time for Tim Harmon, 20.34. 20.34. Tyler Shabanian in the start for Newburyport. Time for Owen, 27.74. Paul Parachojek from Haverhill in the start. Paul's now on course up top. Luke Bartley is in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Tyler, 22.50. Time for Paul Parachojek, 22.23. Owen Palmer from Masco in the start. Time for Luke Bartley, 22.86. Theodore Hutchins from Andover in the start. Time for Owen Palmer, 22.04. Theodore Hutchins now on course up top, and Derek Monahan from North Andover is in the start. Time for Theodore Hutchins, 22.43. Josh Harmon now on course up top for St. John's. Tristan Rogers in the start for Manchester. Time for Derek, 23.43. Graham Smith from Newburyport now in the start. Time for Josh Harmon, 20.52. Graham Smith now on course up top. Henry Hartford from Havel is in the start. Time for Tristan, 29.01. Dante Philodoro now in the start for Austin Prep. Time for Graham, 23.63. Will Cameron from Masconomet now in the start. Time for Henry Hartford, 21.09. Ryan Swenson from Andover now in the start. Time for Dante, 22.82. Ryan Swenson from Andover is in the start. Time for Will Cameron, 22.07. Luke Ramos from North Andover in the start. Time for Ryan Swenson, 22.63. Owen Gant from St. John's Prep in the start. Owen Gant on course up top. Peter Shaw from Manchester in the start. Peter Shaw now on course up top, and Nolan Smith in the start for Newburyport. Time for Owen, 20.58, 20.58. Nolan Smith now on course, and Adam Payne from Havel is in the start. Time for Peter, 30.80. David Morrow now in the start for Austin. Time for Nolan Smith, 24.74. Andrew Mitchell now in the start for Masconomet. Time for Adam Payne, 19.68. That's 19.68. Andrew Mitchell from Masco on course. Quinton Carrio from Andover in the start. Time for David, 24.60. Ryan Madowski now in the start for North Andover. Time for Andrew, 21.81. Ryan Madowski on course up top, and Rocco Mascarelli in the start for St. John's. Time for Quinton, 23.17. Owen McLean in the start for Manchester. Rocco now on course up top. Owen's in the start. Time for Rocco, 22.15. Andrew Long from Newburyport in the start. Time for Owen McLean, 21.08. Ryan Began from Haverhill in the start. Time for Andrew, 23.44. Drew Nadrozic from Austin in the start. Time for Ryan, 27.43. Bodie DeVellian in the start for Masco. Time for Drew, 27.07. Gardner Porter from Andover in the start. Time for Bodie, 22.54. Will Hennessy from North Andover in the start. Time for Gardner, 22.15. Henry Coote from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Will Hennessy, 22.82. Gray West from Manchester is in the start. Time for Henry, 20.98. Caleb Bradshaw from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Gray West, 25.43. Sam White from Haverhill in the start. Time for Caleb, 23.99. Narek Manassian from Austin in the start. Time for Sam, 28.19. Lars Kovamies from Masco in the start. Time for Nelly, 25.97. Max Reams from Andover is in the start. Time for Lars, 29.37. Zach Goldman from North Andover is in the start. Zach Goldman on course up top, and Peyton McKee from St. John's is in the start. Time for Max, 22.57. No, nobody put. He's a DNS. It's just a DNS. Time for Zach Goldman, 22.89. Peyton McKee on course, and Sawyer Sperry from Newburyport is in the start. Time for Peyton, 21.61. Sawyer Sperry from Newburyport on course. David Yang from Haverhill in the start. Time for David, 34.28. Time for Sawyer Sperry, 34.28. Time for David Yang, 26.38. Ryan Reck on course from Austin Prep. His time, 27.23. Anthony Stevens from Masco is in the start. Now on course, and Ian Cox is in the start. Time for Anthony, 23.57. Kobe Muse from North Andover is in the start. Time for Ian Cox, 24.97. Evan Fisicelli, now on course up top for St. John's Prep. Time for Colby, 23.32. Tucker Nichols from Manchester now in the start. Time for Evan, 21.51. Beckett Sava from Newburyport now in the start. Time for Tucker, 27.01. Jacob Coons from Austin Prep in the start. Time for Beckett, 25.44. Ethan Daly from Masco in the start. for Jacob, 26.52. Kyron Ma from Andover's in the start. Time for Ethan, 23.03. Ibrahim Haroon from North Andover's in the start. Time for Kyron, 24.34. Sam Charette from St. John's Prep is in the start. Time for Ibrahim Haroon, 22.33. Sam Charette now on course for St. John's Prep. Time for Sam, 21.56. That concludes today's races. The award ceremony will be in the lodge in about a half an hour. Thank you.
Ollie, can you grab the big bag? You're last. Why did my son get?